Hey everybody, I am on for the midweek message reveal Wednesday, February 28th. Okay, so how are you doing? How are you feeling? How's your week been so far? You might be kind of feeling a little bit frustrated. We do have the Sun and Mercury aligning with Saturn in Pisces today. And whenever Saturn gets involved, Saturn calls us on our bullshit. Saturn is like, okay, get your ducks in a row. Let's line this up. And I want to know if you don't have a duck where it's supposed to go, you should tell me why and you should be able to explain that. So, accountability is big when Saturn moves around. So, that energy is actually something that's kind of harkening back to where we were in March um, and of 2023 when Saturn first moved into um, the Pisces energy. So, with that happening, we are going to continue to experience themes that are from that time period all the way through to the eclipse that's going to be happening in Libra in April. So, this energy is going to be moving through and kind of saying, okay, now you know what it is you need to do or should be doing, or at least address and determine whether or not this is going to happen. And now you're putting in the backup work to make sure that when the action steps can be taken, that you're good for it, that you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's. And Mercury in that energy is going to make sure that that communication is highlighted as being very important. So if you're feeling that sort of energy coming up, just meet it with a sense of acknowledgement first, because it might be a little confronting. Like, oh, I feel like there's so much stuff I need to do, but I don't know where to get started, and I know I need to start gathering. Acknowledge that first and allow yourself to kind of open up to what that means. What does that look like? Does it look like anything? Does it feel like something? Go through the motions of trying to part and parcel the organizational structure of the things that you need to have moving forward in order for you to complete the tasks to get to the next phase. Because now you're starting to gain some clarity. Things are not so soupy. Okay. So that energy is kind of carrying through. And in the cards themselves, it's asking for you to kind of take responsibility for what it is you want. We can wish and want and desire for it, but we have to kind of walk the walk and talk the talk. And where is that happening? All right, so let's jump into the cards. So if you chose one, your card is flexible. It's a 19. Okay. I'm really drawn to the face in this sort of egg. These cards are very strange. Okay, admittedly, I don't really use this deck a whole lot, but it was kind of calling to me. And when it does call to me, it seems to hit a certain group of people. I'm getting a real ping in my left ear. You also might be experiencing some downloaded sort of vibes. So some pain in the jaw and the ear, kind of moving down into the collarbone, some tension here that you might be experiencing on the left side of the body, which is where we are receiving. So, being flexible around what is coming up and knowing that what is showing up for you is exactly what you need, even though it may not look like what you were expecting. You're going to need to be flexible around the way in which the cards that you get to play with, those cards. Don't be so judgy on the cards that come up for you to, the tools, the things, the circumstances. Don't be so picky about how it looks because it's going to be exactly what you need. It's going to make sense later. And you just need to be flexible. You need to lean into a sense of trust too. So 1 and 9 is a 10. Okay. And we break that down to a 1. So this has to do with what it is you're manifesting into your experience. What are you bringing in as the you? What is it that you truly want? Because it's going to show up in a different way than what you're expecting, bottom line. So you're going to need to let go of the expectations that you have because those are the things that have been burning you lately. What you expect to have happen, and then you get butthurt when it doesn't go your way because you had an idea of what it could look like. This time period is going to ask you to kind of Rubik's Cube. I'm seeing like a Rubik's Cube turnaround and it's just not going well. And then someone peeling off all the stickers. You can't micromanage this. You can't fix the way this is going to look to where it's palpable enough for you. You're going to have to just take, what is it? Let the chips fall where they may. That sort of phrase is also pinging around. You're going to have to just let it play out and see how it goes. And you're going to know what to do when the time is right, but you have to be flexible. 2. If you chose 2, your card is Between Worlds. Between Worlds. Flamingo energy. I find it interesting, the black and white. And first off, that's going to be the main indicator of what's happening here with you guys. And 2, what's happening is that you are literally in kind of this incubator stage, right? You're kind of if we were to look at it from a caterpillar perspective, right? You've gone through the funky larva stage where you then are in your chrysalis and you're all broken down and oozy and gooey, and you've gone through that, and that was rough. But in this sort of darker phase, but you can sense and see the lightness and the color and the positive change, and even just a breath of fresh air that is to come through this transformation, right? But you're just not there yet. You're not there. You're right in the mid space. You're right where at times you can kind of see the light and the shadow, and at other times you feel just kind of incubated in this kind of funk. You're in a space where you're moving from that chrysalis, and you've got your wings, right? They're there, but you're all wet and soppy. Like, you're in a space where you kind of have to air out. So of course things are going to be coming up that are going to make you challenge whether or not this transformation and the things that you've let go and the things that you've identified as needing to let go, or the things that you've put into place. This is something that's already started rolling. This thing that you're wondering if it's going to get away from you, or if it was the right move. You can never make a wrong decision around this stuff. And my ears itching a lot, so that's a big yes. So you can't go wrong. You can make yourself feel like shit about the process, though, and that's something you need to stop doing. You're allowed to be in that space where you're not fully ready to fly yet, okay? You're allowed to be in that vulnerable space where you're just kind of looking around and people can see you and they're seeing you're not really doing anything. And are you measuring your worth against your ability to do something right now when you know that you can't? That's the question I have for you. And also, your number is 3, and 3s have to do with the Ascended Masters. This is like a universal lesson. This is a big thing about kind of putting yourself first here when you usually are really, really hard on yourself, and you're looking to others in order to make you feel validated. Like, you're looking and double checking. There's a lot of checking happening. There's a lot of rumination. Yeah, and there is like a lot of tension in the ear, even itching. And to me, that is where your intuition is asking you to be more present and in the moment, because you are getting signals. You are in a space where you can hear things that are actually happening. You are taking in different sorts of information, and it is auditory. And at times you do feel like you might be hearing your own self speaking, and you are. You can open up to that a little bit more. You can ask for more of that and not be afraid of it. But it's going to require you to do more self-belief and leaning on the fact that you trust and care about yourself and know that you have this ability and this sensitivity. If you don't buy it, then it's not going to work for you. This is all about you getting to a space where you feel more confident in who you are and letting that be enough. Once you kind of sync up to that idea and allow yourself to be in that space of appreciation for what you've gone through, then you'll move to the next stage and you'll be out of the between worlds. And I keep asking myself, like, is there any sort of significance to the flamingo? And honestly, I don't feel that. But it might be something for someone in particular. So we'll just put that out there. And the itch says yes to me. All right, so 3. If you chose 3, your card is regeneration. This card is awesome. It's super gnarly. And it's a 46, which takes us to 10 again. So we have a repeating 10, which is a 1. So this has to do with what it is that you are manifesting into your experience, specifically 3. And you've gone through a rebirth. But regeneration is something that takes time, and it's not something that can happen quickly. I'm seeing like a little hamster, And everyone has horror stories with hamsters, right? Or gerbils. Not hamsters, gerbils. Gerbils have tails. So I have a memory of a gerbil losing its tail, and it was traumatic. And for a while there, that gerbil had to kind of exist tailless and make some accommodations for itself, just like a starfish or a worm. When you cut them in half and then they start to grow again. Not that I go around cutting worms in half, or anyone should, but it happens. Um, and they've adapted to that. The regeneration aspect that is being pointed out the most here to me, and is coming through really clearly, is the fact that you can't expect this kind of growth immediately. You're going to have to get used to being kind of hobbled and kind of weighed down by the fact that you've had to kind of grow a limb again, or get over the loss of something like that, where there's been a significant part of you that has been deeply wounded, or you've identified a deep wound, or there has been something, that is currently disabling in the sense of being able to energetically move forward, and even feel as if you have kind of overcome the thing that you've overcome. What you have to understand is that you're not going to be the same little tree sapling that you've always been. You'll come back, but you're going to come back a little different. And you're going to have to get used to what it feels like to exist with this wound for a while. And that in itself is a beautiful lesson. So be kind to yourself too, because you can put out there that this is an experience of positivity through the one manifestation that you have, your channel to your manifestation sort of bank of you is very much an open channel, and is much more so right now, because of the sensitivity and the vulnerability that this wounding has kind of put you through. So take that into account as well when you get kind of down on yourself or feeling kind of funky about what's happening, because the ups and downs is very normal, and it's also energetically what's happening with us all right now as we're recalibrating to a different level of our awareness. So it's going to be kind of weird for the physical self. So stuff is just kind of fucked. It's a little bit off, and it will right itself again, because that's how things go. But in the meantime, kind of have to learn how to function in a different space, in a different body almost. So everyone in 3 is actually noticing physical changes within themselves, even if they're minor. They're more aware of the physical body, and that's awesome, because this sensitivity is going to be required for you to fully sync up to that awareness of your connectivity to everyone, and enhance your creativity and your reach. And that's really what this whole next move to the 5D dimensional energy is all about, is getting to a place of that connectivity amongst everyone, and that lack of feeling a sense of apartness or otherness. It's more of a unity vibe. So if you're feeling that energy, welcome. And that's what we're looking to do. But don't despair. 3, you got a lot going on, and you grow through what you go through, and that's exactly what you're doing. So be proud of yourself for that, and try and lean towards what you can learn from the situation rather than how it's depleting you. Okay? All right. So those are the messages this week. Would love to hear how they land for you. So please leave me some feedback. That would be super cool. I would love to work with you too. So reach out and let's schedule a reading. Let's work together. Let's talk about what it is that you're looking to bring forward, or some things that are holding you back. Check me here below. And I just appreciate you being there. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Reach out. Let me know how things are going. Thanks for sharing, subscribing, and all that cool stuff. And I'll check you later. All right. Peace.